Well, good afternoon, folks. My name's Ian, and welcome to me channel. Welcome to me shed. Title: Bittersweet, bittersweet. The bitter part is my work colleague, and I've worked with Glyn for nearly on 25 years on and off. And this is Glyn. There's my mate Glyn. Aged to perfection. Right on, buddy. We had many a laugh about who was actually the biggest in the company. Glyn used to just pit me. As I talk, a message had just popped up from Glyn. Just let me read that. Apologies for that. I had to read that message. We'll delve straight in. Well, Glyn was a bonny chap, bigger than me. He used to joss each other and said, like, sooner or later I'll be bigger than him. Well, I am. Way bigger than him now. And not in a good way. So Glyn, when he got to age 50, as we do in this country, went for his well-man MOT, and he got diagnosed with diabetes. And they started to treat that. That's only like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And eventually, to cut a long story short, they put him on that Ozempic, the celebrity fat slimming drug. And he lost 10 stone. Went down from like 24 stone to 14 stone. 5 weeks ago he came to work. I didn't actually recognise him. Saw him talking to one of me other colleagues. I thought, oh, we got a visitor. He seems to know him. It's only when he started talking, because he had a bobcat on and a coat, and I didn't recognise him. He took ill at work about 4 weeks ago. Went to hospital, and they said, actually, this Ozempic is making you, I'm going to say, constipated inside. Because you've been constipated inside, you've, and I mean way up here, you know. Apparently that's what it does, this drug. It slows the passage of food through you. And because of that, it's created an infection, and we'll treat you, and then sort it out. And he were fine for a day or two. And he went back to hospital saying, I'm not well. They did a scan after a lot of arguments. And he was given the bad news that he had pancreatic cancer. And basically, it was stage 4. And there's not a lot they could do for Glyn. He got his hopes up. And his hopes, then dashed his hopes, got his hopes up again and dashed his hopes. And got his hopes up again and dashed him again. I went visiting him last Tuesday. Mere shadow of himself. Physically, but mentally, he's still got the acuity and the sense of humour that we all liked at work. Hey Glyn, I know you're going to be watching this, because Glyn asked me, he said, Ian, how come you've never mentioned me in a YouTube video? He used to comment. I've shouted him out in the past. I've shouted his wife out in the past, Kay. He says, I'd like you to tell all your YouTube subscribers about myself. I said, you know you're going to get inundated with like 1,000 prayers. He said, they can only help. So here, Glyn, for you. And it's not a eulogy, because Glyn's still with us and he's still fighting. Although, I think sad to say, it's going to be a short fight. Now Glyn, very witty, very dry bloke, came out with the famous, or infamous, or you Americans might not get this, tea towel joke. You know, what's the most common owl Everybody goes like the barn owl, you know, the great big-eared thing. And, you know, it's the teat. And he got me boss with this. A pearler. My boss had just been watching a wildlife programme. It was all about owls. He says, "I know this, I know this. It's the lesser spotted great barn owl." He went, "No, it's a teat." He went, "What the hell's a teat owl?" Teat owl. Like I say, it's a rag you wipe. It's a cloth you wipe your dishes with. Americans don't use dishes to wipe the cloths, so I hear. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the time that he came to work and he was complaining about the ring of fire. I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, I had a curry last night." He had a chicken tikka. I said, "What's a chicken tikka?" It's like a chicken tikka, but a little hotter. I might have to explain that. Tikka, the otter. He's a funny guy. There's others that Glyn came out with. It was a pearler. And he's in hospital. We're in bed. We're in bed. I'm sorry, Glyn. He's in bed. I'm outside of his bed. A couple of other people. And he's telling us a tale. And he's on about... It's about a guy who owns a carpet shop. And he's talking to him. And he's saying, he says, "Hey, what's your name?" He says, "Walter." And Glyn says, "Oh, for goodness sake, don't tell me your last name is Walls." The guy didn't get it. Walter? Walls? Walter Walls Carpets? So Glyn's like that. Still at this moment, he's still sharp up there. He used to come out with conundrums like, why do round pizzas come in square boxes and you cut them into triangles? Now, Glyn, if you're watching, I'm going to, you know, there's things I want to tell you about the time we was at the birthday party. Now, we're at this birthday party, and the place is heaving. It took you 20, if not 30 minutes to go to the bar and get a drink. Glyn, he'll be laughing now because he knows what's coming next. So I was in the pool room, and they covered the pool table, with a board and a big cloth. The cloth was bigger than the board. And he got a pint of Guinness. He come over to me, he said, "Bloody hell, Ian, it's took me 30 minutes, half an hour to get this drink." He said, "It better be good." And he put it down. And he put it down on the pool table where the board finished, but the cloth was still there. And he put it down on that bit. He put it out, because I knew about this, I was told, because I nearly did the same thing. And before he put it down, let go, and it fell on the floor. Smashed. He was gutted, his face was gutted. So, Glyn, here's your mention on YouTube. Because Glyn's quite proud of me on YouTube. When he found out, I tried to keep it quiet, but when he found out I do YouTube, he used to tell everybody, all the visitors, anybody, would be out. We were on the hill trail and he was like, "Hey, this is Ian. He's on YouTube." Got embarrassing sometimes. But, you know, sadly Glyn's not going to be with us much longer, and I really don't know how to go forward with this, because he's a very realistic type of guy. We had conversations, And they actually said, you know, we're going to send you home, you've got about 7 weeks to live. Then they give it some hope and said, actually, we can treat this and you might have 6 months at worst, 12 to 15 months at best. And then a couple of days later they say, well, actually, no, it's in your lungs now and it's somewhere else and you've probably not got. I'll cut a long story short. They've actually said, we can't treat you. We'll refer you. Well, that tells me to another thing. So we're in hospital and they're going to refer him to a cancer specialist hospital called Christie's. He's currently in Bolton Hospital. Christie's is about, I'll say about 7 to 8 miles away from this hospital. The nurse is talking to him, she's assessing him and she's saying, well, you know, you're bearing up, but we need to sort this problem out. He has an issue that the cancer causes. Once we got sorted that out, your referral's gone to Christie's, the cancer specialist hospital. And as soon as you get that, you'll get your appointment and we'll start chemotherapy, radiotherapy. You'll be assessed first. So he says, like, you know, so what do these assessments mean? He says, well, you know, are you mentally fit? Are you physically fit? You know, can you stand, because chemotherapy is a poison. He goes, and your body needs to be right. He had a problem with his liver, but the liver turned out to be a blockage. They put a stent in, cleared the blockage. His liver's fine. Bilirubin. I don't know what it is. Somebody I asked the other day, he said, I was asking somebody what what's bilirubin? Bilirubin. I know we're waffling on, but you can't waffle on with somebody you've worked with for 25 years. Can't pack in. So she kept making points about, you need to be able to walk. Can you walk? He says, I get up, yeah, I walk, I'll go upstairs, I have a shower. He says, I'm ready for this fight. He said, what's the problem about, what's there so much about walking? And the guy says, because you must be able to walk. And somebody I'm with says, he don't have to walk to Christie's, does he? That's like, does he have to walk to his 8 miles to the hospital? Well, I started off laughing. Don't forget, I'm in a ward with lots of other people who's got illnesses. The guy outside of me started off laughing. He started laughing. Glyn started laughing. The nurse started laughing. I said, well, if you set off now, you might be there by the time you get your appointment. But Glyn, you've got your mention. I said, you're going to be inundated with prayers. As he said, you can't do any harm. You can only do good. So if you want to put your prayers in the comments, Glyn will read them. He's still in hospital, that's what that comment was earlier. I was asking, has he gone home, and they hadn't. I don't know what to say. How do you say to somebody? All I can say, he's an avid football supporter, avid sportsman. He was a talented tennis player in his youth. He hurt his back. He was a brilliant golfer, actually, very well. He could have gone pro, but like all of us, or a lot of us, he got swayed by, you know, women and drink at an early age. Glyn, I trust that at the end of your journey where you're going, you will be able to watch football to your heart's content. And to that, even though we don't like whiskey, I'll drink one to you, Glyn, for all the times we've had that fight we nearly had. But I couldn't have hit him because he was laughing so much at me. I was really riled up and he caught me at a bad time. And although he was only 5 feet away, 4 feet away, I had a bag of crisps in my hand and he did something and I threw my crisps at him. Really angry, really angry. I was really angry. I would have got up, I'd have smacked him there again. In fact, I stood up, you know, fist ready to. But I missed with the crisps. He was in front of me and I ate the fridge, which was like 45 degrees away from him. And he just split his sides laughing. Somebody tried to calm me down, and with his laughing, he just dissipated. That's for you, that, Glyn. Bit of a fond memory. Sweet. As you know, I've just become a granddad. I'm going to be a grumpy granddad, I'm sure. I've been asked on the family photo album, what do you want to be known as? My wife wants to be known as Nana. I put literally grumpy granddad Ian. So she'll be growing up saying, can I go and see grumpy granddad? She's a lovely little thing. She was born 5 weeks early. She's almost premature. She's tiny. Now I'm gonna show you some photographs shortly. Here's a can of beer, right? And there's my hand. Okay. Now, yeah, I do have big hands. I'm a big lad. So as you can see from the picture, she's tiny. You know. Yeah, proud as punch with her. You know, I got the phone call the day after. It was a long 26 hours in labour. It weren't an easy birth, you know, and I go to the hospital and I have a stripping wire here all day. I cleaned up. My wife said, make sure you're clean, and I'd cleaned up the best I can, but look at this picture. You know, I thought my finger was clean, but that tiny clean hand gripping my finger, which is the best feeling in the world when a baby's gripping your finger. And I'm thinking, when I saw the picture, oh, how dirty does my finger look? She'll kill me. Well, that's the by. I had to have a look because I knew I had one and I knew I would use it someday. I've got a tiny hammer. I've got a tiny hammer for the little thing. I might have to shorten it, but I can't wait till she's in here and she's smashing things to bits with this little hammer. She already brought my wife's out. Oh, she's so sweet, so tiny, perfect. She's got all the fingers and all the toes, unlike people from Wigan. But then the bitter part, it's too early. In the hospital, they're under pressure, you know, and it's like, she's just over the weight she should be. She's fed twice, spooed twice. Send her home. She went home. She were only home one day, back in hospital. This picture. Heartbreaking. But I've got the full faith in hospitals where babies are concerned, because they've been looking after babies for a long time, haven't they? You know, lots of children have jaundice. She had a little bit more wrong with her, you know, she weren't feeding. She was hypothermic, you know, and it's nothing to do with being wrapped up, because if you're not feeding as a baby, you're not generating the internal heat. So they sorted that out and they sent her home. Yeah, superb. And the day after, the nurse comes and visits, and they take a heel prick, and an hour later you need to take her back to hospital. The jaundice levels have risen. And for the last, I'm going to say 4 days, that's been the pattern. 1 day at home, 1 day in hospital, send her home, take her back to hospital, send her home, take her back to hospital. And that's where we are on this Saturday. The child is 1 week old. She was born on the 24th of the 2nd. And she spent as much time in the hospital as she has spent at home. But like I say, I ain't worried. My son were worried. My son was very worried. She'll get through it. She'll be a fighter. She'll be a scrapper. That's what she'll be. So, I've got to call this video it. Hope you don't mind me rabbiting on for the last 20 minutes. I'd like to point you to a, and it was a recommendation by YouTube, and it's a group called Derek and the something or others. I'll put the link in, and I'll put the song in, because when I started listening to that song, a lot of the words were quite relevant in certain areas. I'd urge you to listen to it. And the final thing I'm going to say, because this will be in people's minds. Hang on. I watched a video before you started this. And yes, it is monetarised. And it weren't a difficult decision. It's not for my own benefit. If I don't monetize this, and it's not a video that really warrants monetizing, does it? I'm not doing this for money. Google have the right to monetize your videos. If I didn't do it, they would. And they would then keep the revenue. I've monetized this video. I will get a certain small amount of revenue, and it's tiny. It really is. It's pounds. But with those pounds, I can put towards a donation to whatever Glyn wants. I'll ask him, because he's still with us, and he'll enjoy reading all your comments. He's still got it up here, and he's got a big heart, but it might not be as big as it used to be, but he's got a big heart, and he's got a big fight in him. Right, everybody, Ian in his shed. I'll see you about.